Hey soldiers, home prices are rising, and that is creating an affordability trap for a lot of people who want to get into a home for the first time or sell a home and buy another one. And that could be bad news for the overall real estate market because it'll lock it up at some point potentially. It's also counterintuitive in an environment where we have seen interest rate increases and higher interest rates than we have seen in many years. So we're going to talk about some solutions to get you into that home, some things you might want to think about if you're trying to purchase a home. And listen, let me also say, I don't get these people who poo-poo the idea of home ownership, and that there is a segment out there that does that in the financial news and information genre. Yeah, you shouldn't buy it. Buying a home is a financial mistake. Listen, getting your own mortgage and purchasing a home, yes, it costs. You can't put your money anywhere without it costing you if you're going to get some type of return. And there are some places you can put your money and it will just cost you. It won't give you any return. I've always said, under your mattress, you're going to be exposed to the full brunt of inflation and lack of opportunity cost. So you're going to get hit wherever you put that money. Now, if you put it in a mortgage, yeah, there are costs associated with that. And some people poo-poo the idea of the mortgage for those reasons. But if you pay rent, you are paying mortgage, just not your own. So a lot of people, for that reason, say, look, at the end of the day, I want something out of this. I want to be able to own something at some point. And then people will say, well, you don't really own it because you always got to pay taxes on it. That's not true. In some cases, some jurisdictions do allow people who are older, who have their homes paid off, to either lower their property taxes or not pay any property taxes. Now, I'm not sure if you live in that kind of jurisdiction, but to denigrate the idea of home ownership and getting a mortgage because of taxation basically has you sitting in the middle of a field butt naked because you have not purchased anything, because everything is taxed. All right. So that's a very odd way to frame that argument. Home prices in America's 20 largest cities rose on a month over month basis for the third straight month in May, according to the latest data from S&P CoreLogic's Case-Shiller Index. Now, again, I want to stress, I've stressed this before, the mortgage, or the home prices rather, they're hyper-local. So I can purchase a share of stock in Maryland of a company, let's say Amazon, and at the exact same time, another person can purchase a share of that same company, Amazon, in Hawaii. Okay? We'll both pay the same price for that share, all other things being equal, because the equities markets are global. All right? They're even broader than national. They're global. Okay, and yeah, you got to account for exchange rates if you go to a different country, fine. But when it comes to, let's say, a 2-level with basement, single-family home on 1 acre, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, finished basement, 2-car garage, okay? That can cost one amount in, say, Maryland, and it could be it will be a totally other amount in, let's go with Hawaii again, all right? Where land is at a premium, much more so than Maryland, okay? So that's one variable in there that's very important. There are others. So real estate is not even, you're not even going to find those two homes priced the same in the same zip code, okay? In fact, you might find that home on one lot and then go a mile down the road and be in a totally different school system, totally different local government, and have that situation be totally different in terms of price. So let's just preface everything we're talking about by acknowledging that. On a year-over-year basis, home prices remain lower, marginally. It's just 1.7% lower in America's 20 largest cities. Home prices in the U.S. began to fall after June 2022, and May's data bolsters the case that the final month of decline was January 2023. Now, there are people out there that say, well, look, I'm going to wait for home prices to come down, and then I'll get in. And then there are other people that say, hey, let me jump on this train because I don't know what's going to happen. I do believe that waiting too long to purchase anything exposes you to potentially paying a higher price. And in the interest of full disclosure, yeah, we own a real estate company. Okay, we've seen it. We've seen people sit on the sidelines and wait, and some of them are still waiting for prices to come down, and they haven't done so. And then they're really not going to do so to the extent that certain people are expecting them to. And then I caution people, what other item are you aware of that you purchase on a regular basis that has come down in price over the last 5-10 years? Let's take a gallon of milk. Is it less expensive today than it was when you first started purchasing gallons of milk? Probably not. So housing is getting more expensive. Now we're in an environment where interest rates are increasing and we're dealing with inflation. Okay, let's just not even talk about the crazy inflation we've seen over the past few years. Just talk about general inflation over the 5-10 year period. They try to keep it between 2 and 3%. Real inflation, I'm saying, is between 5 and 8% usually. So you sit there and you wait, and affordability gets further and further out of reach the longer you wait. And your wages are not going up commensurate with those increases in inflation, mortgage cost, and interest rates. Okay. And I don't want to say mortgage cost because the interest rate is the cost of the mortgage, but what I'm talking about is the home price. Granted, the last 4 months, price gains could be truncated by increases in mortgage rates. Right. So that's what I was talking about earlier, or by general economic weakness. But the breadth and strength of May's report are consistent with an optimistic view of future months. Optimistic meaning price increases, more demand. And that's good for people like us in the real estate industry, home builders, Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those sectors that intersect housing. You would think that in many instances, what would happen is, okay, interest rates are elevated in comparison with previous years. So that's going to force sellers to lower their price. And this is going to be a bonanza for the buyer because, yeah, they can come in, buy at a lower price. It's a higher interest rate, but interest rates do fluctuate over time. And there may be a time in the future where they are lower than the interest rate you purchased at, thereby giving you an opportunity to refinance to a lower rate. But in lots of the markets throughout the country, 20 of the largest, we're not seeing that happen at this time. Okay, we're seeing 2023 be the year of home price increases as well as interest rate increases. Chicago, Cleveland, New York reported the highest year-over-year gains among the 20 cities surveyed. The West Coast continues to dominate among the cities with the largest year-over-year price drops. Now, could that be because people are saying, hey, I don't like living in the communist utopia. It's just not for me. There are too many unicorns running around here. I gotta leave. Could it be that, people are leaving certain states like California in droves? Judging by the resumption of the rise of mortgage rates since the Case-Shiller data was created, we would expect prices to also resume their decline. But when selling volumes and inventory are so low, anything can happen. Okay, so you got demand, but you don't have enough supply to meet it. And I can tell you in Maryland, that is what we're seeing. We're still seeing people out there writing offers that exceed the asking price and still not get the house. Okay. So there's a lack of inventory. There's high demand and, supply and demand. You know all about it. When that situation exists, you find higher prices. So this is not working out as the Fed would have hoped, right? Now, what can you do? If you're trying to get into a home, listen, there are some mortgage options out there. You got to be careful because you've got to weigh the pros and the cons, all right? In terms of buying, again, I haven't seen prices decrease in my half century on the planet, okay, overall. I don't know of one item that I interact with or purchase that I have said, oh, this is less, this costs less. Even grocery items where they include less, okay, shrinkflation, they still cost more. I buy this Blue Buffalo dog biscuit for my dog. And when Blue Buffalo was just a standalone company years ago, the damn biscuits were almost, you open the bag and they're almost falling out, okay? And they were bigger. I know this because I could take one in my palm and hit right here mid-palm and crack it in half, okay? Now, the bag is about 80% full and the biscuit is smaller because I can't even do that with it because it's not large enough for me to extend it across my palm. So the actual biscuit is less, but they cost $1.50 more than when I first started purchasing them. And they no longer include the coupon in the bag to get some cents off of your next purchase. All right. So if I can't find a discount on dog biscuits over time, depending on where I'm buying and how I'm buying, what I'm buying, I am probably not going to find too big of a discount, if any, in housing. Okay. And if I do find a discount on the price, there's probably a lot of work associated with it. And they do have the types of loans out there that will include those maintenance costs in the loan. So you can look into that. Maybe you want to buy a fixer-upper and say, listen, I'm not going to be exposed to these market prices. I'm going to buy the fixer-upper and I'm going to just include my cost to repair the property in the loan. That is one way to do it. That is known as a 203K loan. All right, so if you want more information about that, you can feel free to drop us a line in the comments or hit us up at info@m as in money, CE now.com. Another thing you might want to look into, but you got to be careful because there comes along with this option plenty of caveats, okay? We go over the 1% down mortgage in this video right here. Check it out and evaluate it for your situation. All right, guys, share these videos, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up. I'll talk to you soon.